The next speaker is going to be talking about the more recent history of the new school. So we're going to have a more historical part of the talk, and then we're going to have a discussion after that, and then we're going to talk about more contemporary grievances. So Dave is going to talk about the sort of more recent history of the new school, and particularly the power structure of the school over the last years. Could everyone just come around here so that we can all listen to it?
Thank you all for coming. I think an excellent example of the way power is used in this university is that some administrator made a call to the security services. It would be helpful to know which one, and ordered that both doors be locked down and students not be let in. Typically, the way power is exercised at this university is that the senior management of the university, so the senior vice presidents, if you want to have faces and names, you want to look them up, who report only to Murtha, every single effective part of this school, from admissions to enrollment to student services, everything ultimately has to go through one gatekeeper, and that gatekeeper is John Murtha. Now, who is John Murtha? Jim Murtha, whatever the hell his name is. Someone who was here before President Kerrey. He was installed when the last provost, Ira Kentz-Nelson, who had real power in the university, left because the situation at the new school was already deteriorating. So the provost left, a weaker provost was installed, one who didn't have the social connections or social power that Kentz-Nelson had, and a more efficient, a more secretive, a more controlling person was put in charge of university affairs, as simultaneously the office of the executive vice president was expanded to include a lot of purely academic administrative parts. Now, in recent years, with the arrival of John Kerrey, what we have seen is the increased centralization of power and decision-making at this university. We've seen at the faculty level, at the dean's level, at the students' level, ultimately you've got to go through, for any kind of decision, regardless of whether that's a student issue, or an academic issue, or a budget issue, you've got to go through the same set of people, and they don't want to meet with you. They don't care what you think, they don't care what your needs are, and most importantly, they don't give a damn what your rights are. I'm going to try and keep this as short as possible, and I don't just want to deliver content. So if any of y'all have something that you want to say or add to it, please feel free. This is our forum. This isn't just a couple of people talking. But the one thing I want to highlight, especially in the events leading up to the occupation, is that there have been long-standing, enduring, chronic issues of decision-making, information, and access, and effective control over what counts as an education, what counts as appropriate student space, and who can use it and when, that were coming to a head before this past semester. They came to a head because the faculty, for their own reasons, voted no confidence in Kerrey and Murtha, because they didn't just want to go after the person with a large expense account, the person who's flying off to Germany, as he was last week, doing fundraising. That's his job. That's primarily what Bob Kerrey does. They wanted to go after the real issues of power and control, which emanate from the office of the executive vice president. At the level of the trustees, one of the reasons why there's been a long-standing campaign against Robert Millard, at the trustees level, the person in charge of our investments is ultimately the person deciding how much, well, let me make an analogy. For our investments, we get certain donations, we make certain, for endowments, we make certain investments, we get certain donations. We also have a strategy for maximizing our returns, for getting the money we can on the market. The person in charge of that, Robert Millard, decides solely which of his friends get those investments, who we put our money in. Now, this is the person who was the managing director of Lehman Brothers before that collapsed, and also one of the executive members, and still is one of the executive members of L3 Communications.
L3.
Yeah, which is a known human rights abuser. They're under 4 federal trials, and they're going to start going down hard and fast very soon. The trustees know it, the faculty know it, the students now know it. But what they do at that level is entirely analogous to what Jim Murtha does with setting the operating budget at the university level. When we need more money, enrollment is bumped up in Lang and in Parsons. It has nothing to do with what faculty's needs are, what students' needs are, what would count as good academic programs. It entirely is a business decision, and those decisions and those interests are the ones that effectively control the direction of the news feed. Now, I'm going to shut up in a second and hand it over to Jacob. He's going to talk a bit about student responses for a different way of looking at the university and a different vision of what it should be, not just a business model.